Hello, everyone. How are you all this marvelous Sunday? I am Sharnese Coach S.J. Johnson. I am the founder and CEO of Extra Care Transportation, where we provide passenger transportation services such as non emergency medical transportation, student transportation, black car services, and we do a little courier services as well. I've been in the business for about 7 years now. I started out in non emergency medical transportation, started out on my own with one vehicle, which was a Nissan Altima. I started out with brokers and then I expanded. I scaled my business to where I didn't have to depend on brokers any longer. Now, when doing non emergency medical transportation, and I started to see all the different changes within the industry as it related to brokers um, that didn't want to pay, with the fluctuation in private clients, etc. I decided I wanted to do something different. I wanted to add more services to my transportation business. So I added student transportation. Now, a lot of people want to get into student transportation. They think that it's the same as NEMT or that it requires you to have a bus, etc. Well, today I'm going to talk about that student transportation, the differences, how to get into it, what to expect. Now, I must say, I do student transportation through government contracting. Now, I am a government contractor. I have won 6 student transportation contracts with 5 different school districts. Now, with student transportation, it doesn't require a whole lot of what you all think or what you have heard. I built a multi-million-dollar student transportation business as part of my transportation business. Don't have a large fleet, don't own any school buses. I did it through government contracting. However, I also have private pay clients, parents, and families that pay for services for me to pick up their students to transport them to school that are not government contracts. I don't have contracts with their school. It is just them paying for transportation services. So I'm going to talk about all things student transportation with you all today. And then I'll give my information on how to contact me if you want to find out further how to get into the business of student transportation and how to add it to your current transportation business. If you're just doing NEMT and you want to scale up, it's time for you to pivot, etc. I'm the coach for you. So what is student transportation? A lot of people think of student transportation as I have to have a school bus. I have to transport all of these students, picking them up from many areas, multiple bus stops, transporting them to school. That's part of student transportation. Yes, I've done that. I had a contract for student transportation where I utilize school buses. Now with school buses, yes, you're picking up multiple students. The contract that I had, we had about 980 something students that we transported that use school buses. With those school buses, there are certain things that you have to have. One, your DOT number and your federal motor carrier's number. I have both. You have to have the insurance, of course. The insurance for transportation is expensive, but for student transportation, don't let anybody tell you that you can use the same transportation insurance for NEMT that you use for student transportation. No, you cannot. Because you're transporting students, there's different liabilities that you have when you're transporting students, when you're transporting people's kids. Insurance companies look at that. It is a different coverage, it is different amounts. So don't let anyone tell you that, yeah, you can use the same. No, you need to tell your insurance carrier or insurance company that you're now transporting students. So you have to meet the insurance requirements for your state. All insurance is not the same. It depends on many factors, where you are, meaning state, your zip code, the type of vehicles that you're using, etc. But you have to meet that requirement of having the proper insurance. Now, with our school buses, we made sure that they had air conditioning as well as heat on them. Some districts, they may say that you're not required to have air conditioning. But hey, we are in times where when we thought it was going to be a 75-degree day, it turned out to be a 90-degree day, etc. So you want to make sure your children on those buses are comfortable. So each of our school buses had air conditioning. Now we also had cameras, GPS. Cameras you want to always have to cover yourself, whether it is with school buses or if you're using a vehicle, which I'll talk about that shortly. But the cameras don't just cover the students, it covers you as the business owner, as the driver. Okay, things happen on these buses. So if you're getting into buses or want to get into buses, of course, you want to have cameras in the front facing, rear facing, outside, because you want to cover everything on that bus that happens. If there's a complaint, a child said that um, something happened and you need to prove that it did or did not. Let's be honest. It is one of those situations where students can say things or will say things to get themselves out of trouble. You have cameras, you have proof, you cover yourself. You want it for incident purposes. So if you get into an accident and someone said, oh, wasn't my fault, it was the bus's fault. Well, you have that camera to show proof. They turned the wrong way, they ran the light, etc. They ran a stop sign. Well, you have proof. So for your school buses, those are very important items of your business that you definitely want to have. Now, having driving school buses or having school buses as part of student transportation, your drivers have to have CDL licensing. You have to pay them for having CDL license. Their pay is a lot different than someone who's driving their vehicle. So you have to understand that as part of that overhead is your payroll. And if you have those drivers that are CDL licensed, then you need to pay them what they're based upon their experience. Your state has different regulations or different pay scales for CDL drivers. A lot of states say that you can't pay them below a certain amount. So you need to know what your state's requirements are as it relates to a pay scale for CDL drivers for school buses. You want to know anyway what your state says is your minimum to pay drivers and your maximum, and if they have a particular license, what that pay looks like or should look like. Now you have your CDL drivers, you're paying them their experience and them having a license. You're paying for your insurance for that school bus or those school buses. Your cameras, your GPS, your radios. We had two-way radios that the drivers could communicate from the bus to our dispatch tower or location. The radios were in the vehicle, were on the buses. And they used them to update us on traffic, if they were in an accident, if they had any issues on the bus, if parents were not at the location, they would notify us, say, hey, I'm dropping off a child. The parent is not here, etc. Do you want us to wait? Do you want us to take the child back to school? And then we give them those instructions from there. But we communicated with them through the two-way radios. So that's what you also want to have on that school bus. You want to also have your logs for when you're doing inspections for that bus. You want to make sure you document when you check the brakes, when you check the lights. If you do it twice a day, what time? You want to cover yourself because the school district can ask you for your records. Is this bus really ready to be on the road? Have you checked it? We want proof of that. They can request that from you. So you want to have that on your bus. If there's a mechanical issue, you have the documents stating that, the bus broke down at this location, this time. You also want to have your incident reports for the students. If they get into a fight, a child gets sick, whatever, you want to be able to document that on your form and then present it to the school district and or to the parent. So the parent was aware this is what happened. Now, for those students who have behavior issues, there are policies that you have to follow, guidelines that the school district says if a child is fighting, we'll put them off the bus. I have a regulation, hey, if they're fighting, being disrespectful, we cannot calm them, and it is very persistent and consistent, we will request the district, hey, you need to, we're going to suspend them from the bus 2 days, 1 day, etc. Please notify the parents. Yes, you can have that as part of your guidelines, your policy and procedure. The school district has a guideline, policy, and procedure to say that notify us, we will notify the parent. If it, persists and goes on, then yes, we will put them off the bus. So you kind of want to mimic or have that regulation in place and talk with that district to say, what's your policy so that we can incorporate it together to make sure we're on one accord. Now, with school buses, you have multiple stops that you will have to do. And now let's say this, you may have one bus that you have that does one stop. They go to one location, pick up all the students there, and then transport to school. That one stop is what we call a satellite location. It could be all the students that you're picking up at that one location versus you picking up at this bus stop, that bus stop, that bus stop, having 4 and 5 stops, then head to the school. You also have tiers. Tiers could be the 3 grade levels, elementary, middle, and high school. The tiers begin at certain times because, of course, you have to pick up your high schoolers, all of your routes, drop them off to school. Your next tier starts. That could be your elementary students, and so on and so forth. That's your tiers. That's how you pick them up. It could be 1 stop. It could be 10 stops. Could be 15 stops for just one route. That's your basic school bus. If you're looking to get into school buses and you contract with the school district, that's kind of what you will expect. Or if you do government contracting and you are looking to get into school buses or to find a contract for school buses, that's kind of what to expect. Now, most of what I do for student transportation is I transport, my contracts are for McKinney-Vento, and I'll explain that, foster care students, students that need specialized transportation that they can't ride your traditional school bus. Now, what is McKinney-Vento? McKinney-Vento is a federal program. It says that the school district must provide transportation for those students who meet the requirements of McKinney-Vento program. They are displaced or homeless. They have a situation that arose where they are no longer in their permanent housing. The district must, if they meet the requirements, they can remain at their home school. The district has to pick them up from wherever they are, provide transportation. Most of those students are not on school bus lines. Now, the district still has to provide that service to pick them up. So what do? They reach out to companies such as myself, my company, Extra Care Transportation, to say, hey, we have these students that we need transporting. They cannot ride traditional school buses because they're displaced. That's where I come in. They may be a child that's on Title I or on an IEP or a 504 plan, or they are through the foster care. Yes, foster care students fall up under the McKinney-Vento federal programming as well. The district is required to provide services for those students to pick them up from wherever their home temporary housing is and transport them to their home school without them having to withdraw. So what the district would do is, like for my government contracts, they put a solicitation out there. It may say student transportation, alternative transportation, McKinney-Vento. Um, that's some of the what the titles would be of those solicitations. Now, with this type of student transportation, you do not utilize school buses. You utilize vans, which will be your 7 or 8 passenger vans, the vans that are 10 passenger or less, or 12, depending on the district and what they require. You can use your SUV, your sedan, um, any of those types, wheelchair vans, what any of those types to provide services up under the McKinney-Vento or alternate student transportation. That's what I do. That's what most of my contracts are. I don't have a large fleet. I subcontract or I use independent contract drivers. They drive their own vehicles. I pay them for transporting anywhere from 2 to 3 students on up to 10 students. Not at one time, because again, you still have tiers. They may have 3 elementary, 2 middle, 3 or 2 or 1 high school. But because they're picking them up at different times, they're able to transport that many students. They may be only able to get 3 students in the back, but they can transport 9 students because of those tiers, because of those different times that the students have to be to school. So I don't have a large fleet. I use subcontractors. And with subcontracting, the subcontractor works up under me. They do most of the work. They'll find the drivers. They may have systems set up where I pay them and they pay the drivers. They'll utilize my system or my software for dispatching because as the prime, I'm responsible for that contract. If anything happens, it falls back on me. If I list you as a subcontractor, yes, you can be held responsible. Yes, you can be disbarred from providing any student transportation services for that district, but it also falls on me primarily in the beginning. So I use subcontractors. They will get the drivers, pay the drivers, utilize my software. They may have their own software, but I still have access. We pick up the students from wherever they are temporarily, wherever their housing is. We transport them to their home school, pick them back up, and transport them back home. Now, the difference in the school bus transportation and the McKinney-Vento alternate student transportation, et cetera, is with my school buses, I did after school or charter trips, field trips. That's more money that you make. With the alternate transportation or McKinney-Vento transportation, there's no field trips. You don't transport these students on field trips. There's no after school transportation. It's strictly you pick them up from their home location, a temporary location, and transport them to school and back home. So that's the easier part to that particular part of student transportation. Now, the insurance, my insurance is crazy because even though the subcontractors and the independent contractors are up under me, and they have to have their insurance, I still have to cover my business. I still may have to cover them during the hours that they're working for me. So I still have to have that commercial auto insurance, general liability, which includes sexual assault and molestation and workman's comp. That insurance can be anywhere from $1 million on up to $5 million, depending on the district's requirements. And the district would tell you, this is the insurance that we require you to have. So it's no second guessing. They'll tell you. Now, the third thing, the way to get students for student transportation is through your private pay families, meaning the parents pay you direct. This is not through a school district or through their school. You do your advertising that you provide student transportation. The parents reach out to you, they pay a registration fee, and then they pay you a monthly fee. So let's talk about monthly fee, what that looks like. You know what it costs to operate your business, or you should. Or if you're looking to get started, um, do your research. And if you need assistance, I provide it as well. But you know the overhead, insurance, fuel, that those costs that you have, maintenance on your vehicles, if you have drivers. So you want to charge your rates, they need to not only pay for that overhead and for you to operate your business, but it needs to give you your pay. Okay, you have to be paid as well. Your business gets paid, you get paid. So what the normal rate for student transportation should be, or it starts at $600 per month. Some are $400, depending on if it's part-time, if they only go in the AM, PM, a couple of days a week, etc. But you set your rates based upon what it requires you to operate that business. I have seen companies charge as much as $1,500 to $1,800 a month, one child, to do transportation. I am anywhere from $600 to $750 per month. Depending on where they are, how many miles I'm transporting them. Now, this is what I do. I have satellite locations. I will pick up 12 to 13 students from one location, one vehicle, which we utilize our 15 passenger vans or our 7 or 8 passenger vehicles. We pick them up from one location, transport them to the school, pick them up from school, transport them back to that same satellite location. I do not recommend doing door-to-door service. Why? Because it takes up your time. Kids are not ready. The parents are not home, so they are, depending on the kids to be ready. Then you sitting having to wait, picking up all these different students from different locations, then trying to get in traffic and get them to school. Then when you're transporting them back home, you got to drop them off to all these locations, which that could take you from the time you pick them up at 1:30, 2 o'clock. It could take you 6:30, 7 o'clock, depending on where you are in the traffic. Pick them up from school, take them to one satellite location, and require the parents to pick them up from that satellite location. So if you're picking them up by 2:30, it takes you maybe 45 minutes to an hour 30. If you live in Atlanta, where I am, that could take you 2 hours, but at least all parents pick them up from location and you're done. You're not running from house to house dropping off students. If you choose to do that as your service, part of your service, by all means, okay, don't eliminate it if that's how you want to gain your clients and let your parents know you provide door-to-door service. But if you're looking at having multiple vehicles out on the road, you want to make sure that you're not running from place to place. Your drivers can get home in a timely fashion. Have them picked up from satellite locations. You're charging for the seat in each of those vans that you're utilizing, the vehicles that you're utilizing per month. So that's how you're going to set your rates. Again, your rates are dependent upon how you operate your business, what your overhead costs are. You should not be charging rates based upon someone else that you've spoken with that is in the same industry. Your overhead is not their overhead. Your costs to run your household after you have done everything, paid everything for the business, now you're getting paid. Your bills are not their bills. So do not set your rates based upon your friend or another colleague or someone that has or is in the same industry doing the same thing. No. Your insurance might be more or less than theirs, depending on where they live or where they operate. So there's a lot with student transportation. It is a very lucrative business if you do and operate it properly. Structure that business properly, have everything in place that you need for that business. It's not just about you registering with your state, getting your EIN, and then now you're ready to go. No, because your state has certain requirements for you to provide student transportation, insurance requirements, vehicle requirements. It takes you branding and marketing. You have to find those families. If you're not like me doing government contracting and you're just starting out and you have private pay, you need to market your business. So you have all of those things that you have to look at when starting your student transportation business. Now, what do I do as a business coach? I coach, my primary focus is on transportation, NEMT, student transportation, Black car service, etc. I not only show you how to start those businesses, I show you how to successfully run those businesses, scale your businesses. A lot of people try to start in NEMT, okay, and think that you have to now start a separate business for student transportation. I normally tell people don't start a business and use NEMT in the name, ABC NEMT transportation, and then you want to add all these different streams of income to your transportation business. Or your website, all it shows is NEMT, but you want to add student transportation or other services to your transportation business. Well, you're going to lose your people, your audience, because if someone wants to Google student transportation businesses in their area, you need them to be able to go to your website or to contact you. They need to know that you provide that service. So structuring your business properly as a transportation business, it allows you to start at one particular stream and then add to that. I show you how to scale that business, how to set your rates to become successful. If you're looking into government contracting for student transportation, that's a whole nother ball game. But I am a business coach, government contractor. I show you how to search for those contracts, how to create your technical proposal, a winning technical proposal, how to submit that contract, that solicitation, um, how to get into subcontracting. You don't want to be a prime, but you want to know how to subcontract. That's all things Coach SJ. Now, if you want to locate me or you are looking for services, my services, um, you can reach me or find me. My website is www.coachsj.com. Just that simple. www.coachsj.com. You'll find a list of my services. If you want to book a consultation, you can do so from that website. But I encourage you, if you're looking into scaling your business or adding multiple streams to your current transportation business, do so. NEMT, student transportation, Black car services, errand services, all of those are different streams. Add them to your current business. Don't just rely on one thing because we all know that in business things fluctuate, things happen. You know, you can be here one day and here the next and just completely drop. But if you have different streams to make money, if one part of your business is not doing well, you have this other part of the business that can help you continue to sustain your business. So again, I am Sharnese Coach S.J. Johnson. I hope that this was helpful for you, for those who are looking to get into student transportation. You can follow me on social media, follow me on, just continue to watch my YouTube. I'm going to come back and post more information on NEMT. Those of you who are in non-emergency medical transportation or are looking to get into the NEMT industry, I'm going to talk about how to get into it, how to get those private pay clients, dealing with brokers, what is actually happening in the industry, and answer some questions for you. So I am glad to have you. And again, I look forward to meeting some of you. Contact me on any of my social media. Again, you can reach me, find me at www.coachsj.com. My email address to reach me is contact@coachsj.com. So you all enjoy the rest of this day. And again, look forward to meeting you all. Have a good one.